Bueno, ahora estamos con Chuck Bell from Consumer Report. Él es el encargado director de programas de esta asociación que es muy grande en los Estados Unidos. Hoy vamos a poder conversar de distintos temas, como el consumo, nuestra forma de vida, lo que es también el consumo en la que es la nueva era del planeta del calentamiento global, y también lo que son las leyes antimonopolio. Medidas que nuestro país necesita de forma urgente y que se están tratando cada vez más en el pensamiento de los consumidores. How are you doing, Chuck?
Very nice. Thank you for having me today.
Chuck, we have to talk about many things today. First of all, it's this way of consume, this way of life that consumers have, and we are having it for a very long time. So this is the problem, the crisis that our planet is passing through. This is the global warming. So as consumers, we have to change our way of life.
Yes, I think that it's very important for consumers to understand we have to consume in a responsible way. That, of course, all of us need food and housing and healthcare, but we should make sure that the services and the products we are using does not make life worse for future generations. We have to protect this planet for everyone that's living on it, and some of the things we do as consumers are very wasteful. We don't create all of the products and services. Like, for example, I never decided that I want everything to be wrapped in plastic when I get it. The companies decide a lot of those things, but as consumers, we can use our voices and speak out to try to get more responsible production and consumption.
Do you think that Chile and the United States have this very same system of consume?
A lot of the issues that we are challenged with are very similar. I think in the US, people are relatively more affluent, they have more money, so they have better choices in a lot of cases. But we have a large component of the population, about 40%, that lives from paycheck to paycheck. They don't have a lot of savings or wealth. So when prices are high for products, it really hurts them. They can't afford to buy all of the things they need in 1 month, and the cost of housing is very high. So I think the cost of living is an issue in every country, and it's a question of degree rather than not existing at all.
Actually, that's very interesting. Like this crisis that the young people having now, they just can't afford a house. So, which is the next step for them?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to get started in life if you can't afford an apartment. You can't get on your feet to start saving some money. And also in our country, the cost of going to college is very expensive. Cost of transportation is very expensive. So it is getting harder for many young people to get started in life. Some people stay at home and continue to live with their parents. That has been the consequence of this. So I think there needs to be more public attention to making sure that everyone can have a good start in life and especially have an affordable place to live and have affordable health care.
How companies, how the service providers can affront these situations that like these very expensive places, these very expensive taxes, and the prices of all the minimal standard of life?
Well, I think companies do a lot of market research to know who their customers are and who can afford to pay for different types of products. So many manufacturers do have a more low-cost product. For example, with cars, they try to make a car that is less expensive, so someone in their 20s or 30s can purchase one of those cars. So they have some awareness of it, but I don't think the full weight of the problem has landed with them. I don't think that they have really considered that you have to keep prices affordable or else you're putting a consumer into bankruptcy. Mm-hmm. The guy who started the Ford Motor Company, Henry Ford, he used to say, I want to pay my workers enough money so they can afford to buy a car from Ford. And so he had an awareness that if you charge too much, then the consumer can't afford it, the worker can't afford it, and then the economy will slow down. The economy will break if workers can't afford to buy a car.
So in this case, we are talking about this cooperative responsibility with the system?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think in a market economy, there has to be some balance between the interest of the people who are selling products and the people who are buying the products. If you make the price too low, the sellers would go out of business, they would leave the markets. If you make the price too high, the consumers can't afford to buy it, and they are disenfranchised from the market. So at all times, we need to bear in mind that there needs to be a fair balance. And when lots of consumers are in need or living in poverty, that's a broken economy that needs to be fixed.
I was asking about this against the economic concentrations law. In Israel, in 2011, they just make this law because in that country, there were 4 families owner of everything. Now here, we are just talking about doing something similar. Do you think that the concentration of economy in just one owner or many of owners is a threatening position for free competition?
I mean, I think economists worldwide agree that over-concentration of ownership can have very damaging effects for competition and for choice for consumers. It's the whole theory of the market system that concentration can be dangerous. Sometimes politically, it's going to be difficult to enact laws relating to that, but it's very important for the government to create ground rules for fair competition. Any society that doesn't have that is going to have a continuing series of controversies and struggles and debates because the prices of many essential products will be too high, and so it won't be fair to consumers, and it will slow down economic growth in the long run to have over-concentration. So I think the debate or the discussion that you are going through in Chile is very important about these issues, and I hope that you can come to a fair resolution that will protect the interest of consumers.
Well, in this case, also happened this new problem. They can get in new actors, new companies who can make more competition. So this is a problem here also because we have our own marks like Sodimac, Falabella. We don't have Best Buy like or Amazon or these big companies from other countries. So when Walmart came in, it's because they bought a local cadena of supermarkets. It calls Líder.
Yeah.
So now it's Líder plus Walmart. So in these cases, how can we as consumers ask for more competition?
So new market entrants can make a difference, but they can also be monopolists, in their own right. So I think it is something that you have to monitor very carefully through regulation. Unfortunately, if we look at the global situation, we're living in a time where there's much concentration at the global level. And any time that that's going to happen, consumers may pay a very high price for that. And actually in the United States, we see some of the companies that sell to Amazon and sell to Walmart are under extreme pressure to lower their prices for production, sometimes hurting the workers in those companies. So the Federal Trade Commission in the US is bringing a big case against Amazon that is testing this theory about whether sellers are hurt by these types of practices of monopolization, which also could hurt the choice of consumers too. So I think probably for the rest of our lives, we're going to be dealing with this problem of oligopolies and monopolies, but it does create an opportunity for the public to discuss and debate. And when you can see how you are affected, it's an important political decision that consumers can have a voice in. And sometimes you can have campaigns and struggles where the consumers can really make their views known about these issues.
That's very interesting actually, because you have a lot of protection against monopolization. So the law in the United States can protect the tiny businessmen, the tiny enterprises.
To some degree, but it has not been as successful as we hoped. And our law is one of the main laws is over 100 years old. And it came about because of this area, what we call the robber barons, where these very big interests in railroads and mining had a stranglehold over the economy. And it came in reaction to that, sort of from a social movement saying, we cannot have this situation. It's too dangerous for the country. So we got a very strong law in that situation. But in other cases, it's very hard to really confront the question and get, to win in that type of a way takes a tremendous amount of political power and social movilization.
Muchísimas gracias, Chuck. Ha sido una entrevista ha sido una oportunidad muy interesante. Le agradezco mucho por su tiempo y por responder a todas nuestras preguntas. Espero que los consumidores y la comunidad de Conadecus también esté muy contenta con todo lo que podemos brindarle hoy. Así que te libero.
Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias a ti y esperemos encontrarnos en otra oportunidad.